Let's have a look at factorising algebraic expressions that have negative terms. So it's very similar to regular factorisation, and we saw that in the last lesson. The only difference is though that we need to take out a negative highest common factor. In fact, all the highest common factors that we've taken out, and that was all shown in the last video on factorisation, they were all positive highest common factors. This time around, we're going to take out the negative or a negative highest common factor. Let's have a look at some examples. So example A, we have an expression negative 10a minus 15, and we want to factorise that. Okay, so again, we look for the highest common factor. So instead of highest common factors involving, say, for example, two positive terms, we're going to take out the highest common factor now that involves a negative. In fact, both of these terms are negative terms, so we can take out a negative highest common factor. So let's think about this. 10 and 15. Think of a number that can divide 10 and 15, the highest number that can divide 10 and 15. Okay, I can think of 5, maybe. 5 can divide 10, 5 can also divide 15, but they're both negatives. So we're going to take out negative 5 as our highest common factor. The pronumeral doesn't count because we don't have an a behind the 15. So let's open a bracket and let's see what goes inside the bracket now. Negative 10a divided by negative 5. Okay, a negative divided by a negative. You get a positive. Two lots of negative 5s go into negative 10. So we're going to end up with 2a for the first term. Now, do I put a plus or a minus here? Okay, is it a plus or a minus? What do you think? In fact, let's keep it as a minus. Negative 5 into 15 goes 3 times. Is that correct? Well, let's expand it and see. Negative 5 times 2a is negative 10a. Negative 5 times negative 3 is a positive. Negative times a negative gives me a positive, but I really want a negative. So this is in fact wrong. So we need to go back then and change that minus sign into a plus sign. And another good way to think of it is because I've factorised out a highest common factor that involves the negative symbol, even the negative symbol gets taken out. And what replaces the negative symbol when I take it out of the expression and then take it outside the brackets, it gets replaced with a positive. So now this will work. Let's have a look at part B. Now part B, I've deliberately chosen bigger numbers. Okay, so this one might be a little bit harder to factorise mentally. Okay, see if you could remember the function that we learnt in the last video. All right, really nice function. You press the alpha key, all right, to get to this function on a Casio scientific calculator or the FX82AU. Okay, let's have a look at the numbers first. Again, there's two negatives, so that's a fairly easy choice. We can take out a negative sign. Highest common factor or greatest common divisor of 36 and 156. Okay. So I'm just going to bring the calculator over now. Okay, remember the GCD function? Okay, alpha and the multiplication symbol, and it brings up GCD. Now let's enter in 36 and 156. 36 and 156. And the greatest common divisor is 12. Okay. Will it work with negatives if I was to put two negatives? Again, highest common factor is 12, or the greatest common divisor is 12. But we need to be mindful here that because we're dealing with negative numbers, we need to take out, or two negative terms, we need to take out the negative as well. Okay, so that's the only one thing, that's the one thing you just need to be very careful with the greatest common divisor. Okay, the calculator will give you the positive answer. Okay, so in fact, if I changed one of those even to a positive, the GCD function of the calculator will always give you a positive answer, but we need to be mindful that we're actually in fact taking a negative sign out as well. Alright, so we've got negative 12, that's great. What about the pronumeral? Anything in common? There's an n there, there's no n here, so that's gone. M squared and m. Remember that m squared is the same as mm. Okay, so there's two m's here, one m there, we can take out an m. Alright, now let's do the division. Negative 12 into negative 36, or negative 36m squared. Okay, 12 goes into 36 3 times. Okay, in fact 3m times, because m goes into m squared m times as well. M times m should give me m squared. And so I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, if I expand this out, I should get back to negative 36m squared. Okay, so what about the 156? Okay, how many times does 12 go into 156? Okay, you can do that on your calculator. 156 divided by 12, okay, goes 13 times. Now, just like part A, we need to put a plus sign this time, and it's going to be 13. Now we have an n, okay, so that's not part of the highest common factor. Again, we need to check this, and to check if it is in fact correct by expanding this out. Negative 12m times 3m gives me 36m squared. I think we've checked that already. Negative 12m times 13n. M times n, I'll get the mn here. Negative 12 times positive 13, I get negative 156. Okay, that's why you have a negative here and a positive here. When you multiply them together, you get negative 156. Okay, now what about part C? I'll just move the board over here. So part C. Now part C has a negative and a positive. Okay, now we could either take out the negative highest common factor or a positive highest common factor. In fact, it wouldn't really matter. But we're going to take out the negative highest common factor just to demonstrate the principle here. Okay, let's think of the highest common factor of 24 and 9. Okay, maybe 3. In fact, 3 is probably the only one that would go into 24 and 9. There's nothing else there that I can think of. So we can take out 3. We're going to take out negative 3. And also, we can see that there's a variable x. Okay, there's an x in the first term and there's an x in the second term here. So we can take out the x as well. Now let's see what goes in the brackets. Negative 3 goes into negative 24. Okay, that goes 8 times. But we also have a y as well, so we need to include that. Okay, so negative 24xy divided by negative 3x, negative divided by negative, gives you a positive. Okay, and it gives you positive xy. And what about positive 9wx? Okay, so positive 9wx, I might just underline that there. All right. Positive 9wx divided by negative 3x. Positive divided by negative. Okay, if you think back to the rule of division and multiplication with negatives and positives, that will give you a negative. 9 divided by 3 gives you 3. Wx divided by x. The x's disappear and we're left with w. Let's check this. Does this work? Negative 3x times 8y, negative 3 times 8 gives you negative 24. X times y gives you xy. Happy with that? Negative 3x times negative 3w. Okay, remember we're multiplying here. So negative 3 times negative 3 gives you positive 9. X times w gives you wx. Okay, I'll try to write the variables in alphabetical order, but you don't have to, but it's preferred if you do that. And that's how you factorize algebraic expressions with negative terms.